Cinebinge log 16, as always, just talking about a portion of the films that got watched this week by this guy. We got 5 of them to go over, so let's do this thing. Get this thing done. And let's get this first one over with. Suicide Squad is the worst movie of 2016 I've seen so far. By far, as this is an incredibly insincere film. Tried as I did, I couldn't help feeling some of the hype for this movie because it's just so marketable. As is, Suicide Squad is an overly cautious to the point of pity film that offers nothing new, interesting, creative. It's got its sights on a paycheck, and this project has no concern for actually being good. Jared Leto's Joker is the epitome of a shoehorned in character, and really that's how you can describe the entire film, as it's so unnecessary and so forced. If it was a means to an end, like if the movie was good, I could overlook how forced it is. But as is, I just can't get over the reality that Harley Quinn is everything you don't want in a member of your elite task force. She's an interesting character based on her relationship with a greater character, that being the Joker, and not because she kicks ass with a baseball bat. I'm not coming from the standpoint that's how she is in the comics. That is how she is presented in this movie. And that just doesn't make sense. And is it really the greatest idea to send in like 8 wild cards all at once? Sure, plant a bomb in Deadshot's neck and send him in with 12 ultra loyal, highly trained special officers. But no, they're going all in, like trying 12 different acne medications simultaneously and hoping for positive results. Also, I'd argue that not a single one of these characters is adequately fleshed out. They try with Deadshot, but his character really is just, I'm Will Smith. And we don't see him grow or express himself. This flick half-heartedly borrows so many elements from successful films, and it does it in the sloppiest way I can imagine. Definitely a Guardians of the Galaxy equivalent here, but have they ever heard of letting a song run its course? Every time they rev up a new pop track, other than Spirit in the Sky, which I suppose is kind of appropriate, it's like the movie is just screaming, "Love me! I have a good soundtrack. A soundtrack you recognize, therefore, by association, I am good." If you've already got the Blu-ray pre-ordered, if you enjoyed this movie, that's okay. You can appreciate it in the way that I thought Jai Courtney as Captain Boomerang was kind of fun at times. But don't go telling me that this is an objective 8 out of 10, because the pace is all over the place. This is worse than Batman v Superman. Fun moments are few and far between. That redundant choose your character montage made me sick. No, seriously, like I was going to make a proper review for this film. I feel like I could really talk about this thing for like 10-20 minutes, but I got sick. I slept for like 16 hours. I had to call in. Bad news. And Suicide Squad wasn't helping, because this thing is a 3 out of 10 at best. But the animated Justice League Suicide Squad episode, still one of my favorites. Also, I watched Paul Feig's Spy, which is surprisingly good in its ability to mimic James Bond type movies so well. It elevates itself to the point where you can appreciate it as a pretty standard 007 type film that also offers some decent laughs along the way. This isn't a flick for anyone who's not down for an F-bomb every 11 or 12 syllables, but I found it highly entertaining, and it's enjoyable throughout. Jason Statham, in particular, is a riot, and even though I don't think Spy will show up in my 2015 list, it's a 7 out of 10 in my book. Crazy Heart is a rather uninspired film with a decent performance from Jeff Bridges, who of course won an Academy Award for the role. In a lot of ways, this kind of gives me a discount Inside Llewyn Davis vibe. There's very little that I can pin down as like this part of the movie was bad, but it's thoroughly unexceptional. On the other hand, The Lobster has quite a bit to praise about it as a wonderfully quirky film. After a single watch, I'm not prepared to say this will meet everyone's standards of greatness, but I really dug the way that it asserts things about relationships and societal pressures to not only find a partner, but find one in a pre-laid conventional way. This is definitely a film I'll be revisiting at some point, and the dry, awkward humor of The Lobster is not only hilarious, but pretty unique. Also, I love how the look of this film is so like corporate dystopian, which again helps suggest how dull a forced or even traditional relationship can be, and functions as a sort of contrast that makes one realize how bizarre the film is. For now, The Lobster gets an 8 out of 10, but I really dug this one, and it certainly has potential to improve that score with future watches. And closing out with Rounders, which is a slick flick that offers a look into the world of professional gambling without so much as a nod to the reality of gambling addiction. But that's okay. And the morality-based argument really has no place in the conversation of this movie, because that's clearly not what Rounders is about. Above all, this movie is entertaining, and scenes with big money on the line offer legitimate tension. Plus, some of the conversations between Matt Damon and Edward Norton are inspired part of the time, as there's evident contrast in the philosophies of the characters that makes for some interesting conversation. John Malkovich is doing something kind of unnecessarily strange with his character, but if you're one who enjoys the occasional Texas Hold'em game, I feel confident saying you'll enjoy this movie. You'll have a good time with it, even if it's not a Best Picture winner. That's Log 16. Thank you so much for watching. Sometime in the near future, I'm really hoping to get some kind of semi-permanent setup going for these logs. But next week, no log, as around that time I'm hoping to drop a pretty major project I've been working on for some time. So look forward to that. But for now, I'm afraid this is